Hey everybody, with the Super Bowl coming up, we decided to do a Tuesday show. We're going to try to put a little bit more energy into this. On Thursday, we're going to go really deep into the NFL. I'm going to let Larry take it over from now because that's what he does. And we're just going to talk about what's going on and why certain things are the way they are. Go ahead.
We've been fighting and arguing, Greg, and talking. I've been saying we need it. We need this. Another show.
We talked about it last time.
Too much stuff out there. We had to tell them we need another show. I mean, we can't do it 1 week. There's so much information. We do a show in an hour, just over an hour. We can't even tell the people everything that's going on.
Hell no, especially with Super Bowl week coming up.
Like Greg said, we got a lot to talk about Thursday coming to the Super Bowl. You know, Super Bowl Sunday from the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. We'll get into that all on Thursday. But tonight, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We thought we'd sit down with you and fill you in on some stuff that's going on. Just hitting the wire today, Greg, to get us started. A lot of stuff going on. Ray Lewis in the news, Randy Moss, Alex Rodriguez, tons and tons of stuff.
Lots of big names.
Let's start right now with Ray Lewis. I mean, these false accusations coming from this reporter with Sports Illustrated. What was this? 2 years ago this come out talking about getting some kind of deer horn spray or deer antler spray. It's a steroid.
Here's what I'll tell you. It's supposed to be like, quote, deer antler spray. And apparently that he requested it, after this tricep tear. You know, and I'll be honest, I'm less likely to believe anybody anymore. I want to believe Ray Lewis. I want to think. Now, everybody said that he requested it. Nobody said if he actually got it. Nobody said if he actually used it. He dismissed it when he was talking about it.
17 years in the league, Greg. 17 years. How many tests did he take?
I hear you. I can't trust anybody.
Wait.
Lance Armstrong.
There's no trust. I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
The NFL, we know how good they are with their testing. We know that we know the guy. If they suspected for 1 single second, there was ways they could have caught him. He could not have got away with it for all these years. And in 2 years, they could have caught him. And somebody would have come out of the woodwork, which is still possible. But I'm going to tell you right now.
It's one thing if it's baseball, but this is football. Where
17 years.
Where people say, if my guy gets caught, I just hope that he's in position to play. No one cares about it in football.
I like Ray Lewis's comment today to the reporters that continuously asked him during media time at the Super Bowl. I am not going to give you the benefit of me answering that question. There's no question. Some idiot reporter, which you know they do, make up crap. Now, whether his buddy's sitting next to him and at the Sports Illustrated building somewhere, said, hey, I think Ray Lewis is taking deer antler spray. It's a testosterone. You know what the other guy did? What the heck is deer antler spray? Well, it's a form of testosterone. Are you kidding me?
I know I have no idea.
So here's the thing. It's over. It's done. This ain't even a topic. 17 years of nothing. No accusations. Constantly passing tests.
But how can you, in this day and age, with some of the other big names, feel confident?
I'm not saying no. I'm telling you.
And I understand what you're saying, but you can't. There's no way you can feel confident that it's 100%. And don't get me wrong. I want to, and I absolutely trust Ray Lewis. If he says I didn't do it, I believe him. But the American public has been burned in the past, and in this day and age, with everything going on with the PEDs, the HGH, all that stuff, you gotta have a little pause.
I had to take a little shot of my Aquafina there, my water, a little dry mouth. Greg obviously wants to argue tonight for some reason. Listen, I understand where you're coming from and saying these guys have ways around things and ways of getting away with things, but he took 17 years worth of drug tests, passed every report that ever came back said Ray Lewis is clean. Now, these guys all know, so he better be aware if he's trying to pull the rug over our eyes, the wool over our eyes, anything like that, he better pay attention to what's been going on lately. You know there's a skeleton in a closet somewhere, and it's going to come out and bite you in the ass.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad.
Now, Ray Lewis is not taking drugs.
I'm glad you're excited about tonight. I'm glad you're excited about Ray Lewis, but you can't sit here and tell me with 100% security that you trust him. 100%.
I didn't say I trust him.
Okay.
What I'm telling you is, as long as he has...
So what's your confidence level that he's telling the truth?
I'm not going to tell you. I don't
Mine's 98%.
I don't... That he's telling the truth?
Yes.
Oh, I agree with 98%.
And part of that is bias because I want him to be telling the truth.
Right, and I think he is. But here's my thing. Here's my thing about it. Until something comes out of the woodwork, until something is said, or he fails a drug test for that matter,
which he did not,
then right now, that's what he has for proof, and you cannot argue that fact with him. He's clean.
No,
he's
I won't.
playing,
And you know what?
He's never been.
And because of his clout and what he's done, and we all know about the double murder and obstruction of justice, $250,000 fine, whatever he rolled on the people that he was with. We all understand that. That was 17 years ago, like you said earlier. He's passed all that, and he's been an ambassador for the league on many levels. And I have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Because he's not someone that I would think is going to lie. At the same time, that 2% doubt is a very strong 2%, because I'm tired of trusting these athletes, these highly competitive people that put themselves in positions where they got to do more than what's necessary.
You know, we're on the steroid topic and testosterone and everything. We were going to talk a little this South Florida region being investigated by Major League Baseball, wanting local and federal authorities to get involved. You know, it's a hot spot, Boca Raton, all around that area for a certain clinic that got subpoenaed for giving testosterone. They found names and records. Alex Rodriguez was there, Manny Ramirez, there was a few others. You know, I don't think there's been enough released right now, enough for us to talk enough about this or point a finger or say he was bad or she was bad. The Yankees are already saying that if Alex Rodriguez, if his name's on that, and he gets arrested in any way, shape, or form, they're going to let him go. Who's going to pick him up? I don't know. But I tell you what, the organization, now that the young kids are running it and the old man ain't there, they're not going to put up with a $200-some million cat that can't hit the ball.
I'll tell you right now. You look at Alex Rodriguez.
And ain't going to play this year.
He's got, his hips all dinged up. He just had surgery. He's getting through it. He's going to be on the shelf. Maybe he comes back in the postseason if he's ahead of recovery, but no one in the organization, including Alex Rodriguez, even thinks that. That being said, he's in the middle of a $250 million contract, has not produced. His postseason numbers are at best subpar. They're trying to get out of this contract.
Well, they want out of it. And folks,
and they need out of it.
Folks, I'm from New York. I am a Yankee fan. Our defense is fine. We don't need him. We got the youth playing third base now. I'm so excited about that. But you know what? That's a topic, Greg, we're going to get into when we learn a little more about it and the investigators get involved and we see what's going on. Let's go back to the NFL for a minute, because I don't want to get into that, not having facts in front of us. What is Randy Moss? Is he trying to put himself in some kind of limelight, look at me type situation because he's on his way out?
Right. Here's what it is. It's the Super Bowl. And it's the biggest stage on earth. And when you put a microphone in these ultra-competitive, highly motivated athletes, although that could be questioned with Randy Moss, they're going to say stuff that's maybe a little bit stupid. So you look at Randy Moss and he says, yeah, I'm the best wide receiver ever. I will agree with this. Oh, I know.
Geez.
Here we go.
He said based on talent, not numbers.
Right. And I'll tell you what. In my mind, hear me out. I know. Stop rubbing your head.
Go ahead.
I believe that he had the talent coming out of the box to be the best wide receiver.
But he's not.
But he squandered that talent on a lot of different levels, not doing film work, not taking care of his body, not doing a whole host of other things where I can understand from his standpoint, where he says, hey, you know what? I got more talent. I can stretch defenses. I can take the top off
Not
on
anymore,
any defense.
maybe 5 years ago.
Really? I mean,
No.
okay. But to my point about his, I understand where he says that, but he's also been a little delusional in terms of things that he thought about where he should have been in history. Is he a Hall of Fame wide receiver? Yes, but he has to play. I mean, at his best year, if he continued those numbers, he'd have to play the 20 to 2020 to even get where Jerry Rice is. So is he delusional? No, from a talent standpoint. But at the same time, you can have all the talent you want. You got to be able to produce on the field. And that's what he didn't do. So from that standpoint, he is wrong. But I understand why he thinks that he can be confused with Jerry Rice for being the greatest based on his mindset without numbers being involved.
Talent, he says, is why he's the best receiver in the NFL. That was his words. You said talent also. Jerry Rice is the best because of numbers. Am I correct in what we talked about earlier today? Talent. Numbers reflect talent.
Yeah.
Numbers reflect talent. Bottom line. So, Randy, now, I got no problem with Randy Moss saying that before the Super Bowl. If it's kind of I'm trying to hype myself, hype my team.
He was asked the question.
He's not doing that. If we all know Randy Moss, he's out there saying, he's saying, I'm the best. Nobody's better than me. We can go through receivers that he couldn't carry.
Chris Carr's better than him.
Oh, my God.
Let me ask you this. Whatever sport you played, football, if someone asked you, are you better than so-and-so, what would you say?
Absolutely.
Right. But that's all he's doing.
No, he's saying we're the best ever.
We're trying to kill him.
You know what
he got asked the
made
question.
Me mad about that today? You know what really ticked me off hearing that today? Was when I came in here today, one of the questions I was going to bring up to you was, because it was a good topic I heard today. One player from each offense that's not a big standout stellar that might make a huge difference in this game. When I thought about San Francisco, Randy Moss came to mind. Why? Well, you haven't heard a lot from him this year with San Fran, but towards the end here, he's come along.
Coordinators, man.
But he's come along.
Exactly where he is.
I know that, but numbers, he hasn't had them. But towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, we've seen more of him.
Yep.
Like they're starting to incorporate him more. Fine, okay, good. But then he comes out and makes an ignorant comment like this.
He got asked the question. You yourself said you would answer it the same way.
Not that I'm the best ever. No.
You got his talent, though?
Because, you know, when he said that, everybody watching TV said the same thing. Are you nuts?
You got his talent, and you don't think you're not the best? I mean, Was
there any point you thought his talent was overrated?
Never.
After he left Minnesota.
Work ethic? Work
After he left Minnesota.
Never. Work ethic? 1,000%.
Right. Okay, so he had the
but that
talent,
has nothing to do with his talent. He's got the wheels. He's got the wheels.
He has down because he wouldn't work.
He's got the wheels. He has the football mentality. Anybody who talks about Randy Moss in terms of his cerebralness of the game, they say he's top notch.
Well, you know what? You say that, but times have changed since he left Minnesota. Times have changed, and he's older, and he's not as fast. He's not as agile, and he's not as athletic.
Do you think he's faster than 70% of the league? Wide receiver?
70%?
70%. You think he's faster than that?
You know, that's a tough question to answer. There's a lot of young receivers out there that are fast.
You're right.
Been around a long time.
I'll tell you what. As I'm asking you this question, I don't know the answer to it.
The point I'm getting to is when you're talking about outrunning corners and outrunning safeties and everything else like that, look at the safeties and the corners we got today on a Randy Moss. Look where the defensive backs are heading in this era. Let's use Seattle, for example. Them guys are just as big. They're bigger. They're as fast.
They're bullies.
And I'm going to tell you right
They're
now,
bullies.
Randy Moss gets hurt in that game.
He doesn't. I don't know if he gets hurt, but I'll tell you what, they push him around.
Yeah. So I agree with yes, he had the talent. He didn't use it to his advantage once he left Minnesota. When he was in Minnesota, I mean, even Carter said, this guy was phenomenal. He did things. Even Teddy Bruschi said, I seen Tom throw passes, Tom Brady, and went, there's no way he catches that. And how he caught it's completely beyond me.
Because he has that fifth gear, man.
You know, with that being said, you know, he wants to say he's the best receiver ever. Fine. We all know it's not true.
But
we all know it's not true. And he knows all know it's not true.
And also,
so let him hype himself up and get ready.
But also, isn't there a little bit of it, you know, it's Super Bowl week. He has to do 1,000 stupid interviews.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to ask him a different question. And people typically give, you know, comments like that just a little bit of a pass because of because if you answer the same question 1,000 times the same way, you're going to want to spice it up a little bit. So maybe there was some of that in it. It is news, absolutely. Yeah. But what you said was absolutely right. He can say it. No one believes it.
Right.
Because we know JR.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, we'll get into more of that Thursday. I want to send a congratulations out, first of all, to Brittany Grinder. Plays for Baylor. Baylor women's basketball team. Breaking the NCAA, not the Baylor record, the NCAA record for blocks this week with 665. That's outstanding. Matter of fact, that's phenomenal. Congratulations, Brittany.
Also, shame on the teams who try to come in the paint.
Yeah, they should pay attention to this.
Y'all should have learned at 300.
She's going to be in the WNBA, excuse me. Anyways, also, I want to send the congratulations out. We're going to talk about this to Tiger Woods for winning the Farmers Market, Farmers Insurance, whatever tournament.
Classic, yeah.
Yeah. You know, guy said the other day, you know what I love when Tiger wins once in a blue moon? I love it. Not because I'm a Tigers fan, the Tiger Woods fan. Why? Because everybody goes, Tiger's back, Tiger's back. Now, this was not a Masters. This was not any of the big golf tournaments. This was just a golf tournament where he's played 1,000,000 times. He's won on that course 1,000,000 times. He could play it backwards with his eyes closed. He should have won it. He was supposed to win it. But what point I'm getting at is everybody always does this, and then Tiger goes on this long losing streak to where people start wondering if he can play anymore, and then all of a sudden he wins again. So the point I'm getting at is he back?
You know what? First, let me say this. I hate that question. I hate everyone talking about, is he back? And then I hate the question of asking him, is he back? He's told everybody, I never left. You know, yeah, he went through some trials and tribulations, and he's come out on the front side of it. He won a lot of tournaments before majors last year. And if you really look at what he's doing, you know, he's still hitting everything in the woods. But the fact is, he's able to recover so well that on his boyhood course that he grew up playing, he's going to be able to get out of spots that no one else can. Well, I mean, I saw
like they said, it's wide open. There's no trouble on that course. Tiger could hit it way to the right or way to the left, that on any of the major PGA courses, he'd be in trouble. This one, there was no trouble. He just hit it out of it. That's the things people don't realize. Wow, Tiger was 17 under at one point. Big deal. Let me ask you this.
Do you think that he's going to be able? And again, I
if
don't
it was
like
Augusta, he wouldn't have been under.
Oh, he would have made the cut.
Right.
Based on how he's hitting.
Right.
But do you think that, based on the way he's hitting right now, I'm not going to ask how many majors you think he's going to win. Do you think that his mindset is back to where he can actually play golf and not worry about people liking him? You know, I didn't like that thing they did with Rory McIlroy with the commercial with Nike and everything, though Rory signed for over $200 million. I don't like stuff like that because it doesn't seem like the old Tiger. The old Tiger that I'm used to, he's a savage. He's an assassin. He gets out of bed dressed in black with a knife, and he took down people. I don't think he's that person anymore.
Why?
But do you think he's getting towards that?
No.
Because what I don't think is going to happen, I don't think he can be in a spot where he's trying to please the public, work on his game, and then get to a spot where he's going to have that killer instinct. That's not what he grew up doing.
No, he's not there. Did you see the end of the tournament? He was way ahead and almost got beat coming back. What did he win, by 4 strokes?
Good thing he had a 7-stroke lead.
Because what did he do? Got frustrated because of slow play. He let it bother him. It got to his head. What should that bother him for? Where does he have to go? Is he in a hurry? Now, look at the bye. He didn't make the cut. But neither did Rory, but he didn't make the cut.
But he wasn't worried about it.
No. Turn around, come here.
He made more in appearance fees in Dubai than he did when he won the Farmers Insurance Classic.
Here's the thing. Tiger, there's no doubt he's not playing as good as he did, and he does not have that killer instinct right now. No. But one of the reasons is his body's changed. Everything about him's changed. So he's had to adjust his swing, this and that. He should have learned it, figured it out by now. But here's the other thing, Greg. The talent he's playing against right now, these young kids, some of them are playing like Tiger played when he came in.
And
they have that killer instinct.
The last thing that I'm only drawing a parallel to this, and this is not, I know they're different sports, but when the United States said, screw, we're going to play our NBA players in the Olympics in '92, the Dream Team, blah, 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 they blew away the competition. What they didn't know that they were doing is putting everybody on notice so that everybody increased their skill. And that's exactly what happened with Tiger. You look at Rory, you look at Ricky Fowler, you look at some of these young cats, these young guns. They grew up saying, I'm going to beat Tiger. I'm going to get on the weight program. I'm going to have nutrition. I'm going to have a workout scout. I'm going to do all these things so that I can be in a position where, despite where my game is, I'm going to be able to compete physically against him. And that's what didn't happen early in his career. He didn't have the young talent, as you stated before, that was really coming after him and chomping down on the bit. Now he has that. Now, when he gets on the course, guess what? He's got to fight every night. Yep. He didn't always have that back in the 90s
Now, the last thing I'm going to say about this Tiger issue, Augusta's coming up in April, I believe.
Yep.
Here's my question to you. Can Tiger finish in the top 5 at Augusta?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Top 5?
3.
Top 3?
Calling it right now.
Nah.
On the record.
If Tiger finishes in the top 10 at Augusta, he had a great tournament.
Top 3.
Okay. You heard it here, folks. Moving on real quick, Greg.
You think different?
I said if he makes the top 10, he's lucky. He had a good tournament.
What do you think, though?
Oh. You know, that's all I'm going to say.
I'll put you on the spot.
No, that's not what I'm going to say. If he makes it into the top 10 at Augusta, he's lucky.
That's
hitting
fair.
The way he's hitting,
yeah.
He can, you know, if he's 1 or 2 or 3 over in Augusta, he's not in the top 10.
I'm about to call him first aid because he's rescuing a lot of shots.
Oh, and that's what he's doing. You know, and going to an Augusta or
first aid boy.
He's not going to do it. Anyways, moving on to hockey real quick. One quick note. There's only, 6-7 games into the season, 8 games. There's only one team still undefeated, and that's the Chicago Blackhawks. You know, I want to tell you, Boston's looking decent. The Rangers are looking really tough. You know, there's a lot of teams out there. St. Louis, Buffalo, all them teams are looking real good. Canadians are looking good.
You know, Buffalo was looking real good. They got off to a 2-0 start, but, you know, they ended up not, like, they're on the 3-game losing streak. Boston, you know, they've actually...
The Devils are looking good.
They've actually been doing pretty good. Tampa Bay is a team that nobody's talking about, same with New Jersey.
Yeah, they're sneaking in there.
But, you know,
San Jose.
Well, and earlier you mentioned Chicago, and, you know, for whatever reason, everybody doesn't really say, okay, Western Conference, we see Chicago. No one really talks about them. It's almost like they're supposed to be there, and they're doing what they do. Yep. I mean, they're undefeated and they're kicking ass.
Yep. So, I mean, that's it's getting interesting, folks. Hockey's in full swing right now. They're off and running. Moving on. Real quick note. on the NBA, the All-Star game's coming up, Greg. They've already put the lineup
what?
out. The All-Star game. And you know what? This isn't the NFL. Actually, the NBA All-Star game is exciting to watch.
You know what?
Anything
I'll tell you
happen.
what. Well, I'll give you this. I will give you that the NBA All-Star weekend is good to watch. But in terms of the actual All-Star game, once the fourth quarter starts, then I'll start watching.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only person in the starting lineup that's going to get replaced is Rondo. Rondo tore his ACL. He's out. Big loss for Boston. Now, here's my question to you. Do they go out and find another point guard?
No.
You don't think they have to go out and find a point guard?
I'll tell you what.
As good as he is, or almost?
Well, here's the thing. They had, and that's an actual very good question because February 21st or 20th, whatever it is, the trade deadline comes up. And so they basically have about 20, 23, 25 days to actually figure out what they're going to do. They got Bradley as a point guard. He's primarily defensive. Courtney Lee, who's used as a serviceable point guard. But when you have a triple threat like Paul Pierce, you have Jason Terry that can shoot from wherever. I mean, I think they can get by and be the 8th seed.
Yep.
Without getting a point guard and just using Bradley and Courtney Lee as setup men.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, what I really think they need to do, they need to get to a spot where they're playing the number 2 or number 3 team, meaning that they either need to be the 7th seed or the 6th seed, because I think they don't really want to play Miami right away.
I don't know if Boston makes the playoffs without Rondo.
Really?
Woo.
They just beat Miami Heat without him, and they had more.
Okay. We talked about this the other day.
Right.
Miami,
and they had more. And then the most alarming thing is they had more fast break points than Miami did. Double overtime, and they still won. KG is still playing at a high enough level, and he elevates it.
A regular season game, not the playoffs. I will be shocked if Boston makes the playoffs without Rondo on them old legs.
Okay.
They can't do what they did the other night, night after night.
Okay, with that in mind, so if you're thinking like Danny
That's
Ainge,
2 cans of a shirt
if
every
you're
day.
thinking like Danny Ainge, then basically what you're saying is
you better go find somebody.
That you're going to get rid of Garnett or Paul Pierce.
Well, if you go get somebody, you have to get rid of Paul Pierce. If you go after a point guard, you got to get rid of Paul Pierce.
Not Garnett?
No, I think they get rid of Pierce first.
Pierce is, you think Pierce, you think Pierce is more valuable than Garnett?
I think
and regardless of the slump that he's in right now, career numbers, you think Pierce is more solid than Garnett right now? If you're trying to attract people to Boston, I trade Garnett because I think I can get more for him because he's so long and his defensive presence.
But you got to get rid of one of them. So do you think Boston goes ahead and gets rid of one of them two to get a point guard? Maybe. I doubt it because the guy that got playing behind Rondo has done real well.
Danny Ainge has already said he's not making big changes.
No, and I don't think he needs to. But with that in mind,
I also think he's not telling the truth.
With that in mind, I still don't think they make the playoffs. Them old legs cannot run that hard 2-3 nights a week. They can't.
Man,
they cannot do it.
You don't think they'll make the playoffs?
No, right now, no. I think losing Rondo is a huge hit. Boston's the 8th seed right now. Let's talk less than 500 record.
Let's talk about who's below them. We got Philly with Andrew Bynumless Philly, which no one really has a lot of confidence in. You got Detroit, another Bynum who's tearing it up, but guess what? They're not doing that great. I can't believe Tayshaun Prince is even still in Detroit.
No. Now, when you say Toronto, because that's where you're going next,
right?
What if they pick up
who?
Gay.
They're
talking about getting him right now.
From Dallas?
Yep. They're talking about, or no, is it Dallas or Memphis?
No, he used to be in Memphis.
Now he went to Dallas. Yeah. They're coming over. They pick him up on the 21st. That's going to be a big spark to their team. And they're a team right now that can score over 100 points a game. So what's he going to add to it?
Right, but aren't they close to almost like 5 games out from Boston?
Okay, you think 5 games ain't nothing, Greg. There's a lot of season left.
But we're past the with the 82 game season, we're past the 41 mark. This is on the downside.
Okay,
This is the slope. And all I'm saying is, if you look at the bottom tier teams,
you want me to give Boston any credit? Fine, they get in as the 8th seed. They're going home the first round. They are going home.
They need to make it to the 7th seed so they can punk New York.
Well, that won't happen. They can't beat New York without.
They can't
Rondo.
beat New York.
Not without Rondo. No, absolutely not. Oh, they might win a game, but they're not winning the series.
Who's the stellar point guard on New York?
Oh, we got right now. I got Felton.
Stellar.
Felton's been playing good.
He's been playing well. He ain't stellar.
We still have the league MVP, Carmelo. Even Stoudemire's been playing well.
He's not the league MVP.
Even Stoudemire's been playing well, and you know how I feel about him. Even Stoudemire, coming off the bench, has been playing well.
You are correct in that.
So, and you know what? Right there, we talked about this before. I said that was going to be the disease to our team, like last year. And if they did anything more than play him off the bench a few minutes a game, he was going to ruin what we have.
He just has to shut up and play the role.
And he's doing it. And you know what? If he continues doing what he's doing, he's going to help this team a ton. He's going to be a huge factor down the stretch for this team. That big man underneath, playing the way he plays, we got a Tyson Chandler. There's guys down there. We're set with our big men. And I'm happy that Stoudemire is doing like you just said, playing the role. And that's what he's doing. So, moving on from Boston right now, I'm going to say if they make the 8th seed, they're going home. I don't think they get the 7th seed like you're asking. Unless somebody really screws up. But they got to be. They're below 500 right now. They better stay steady and strong.
No, you're right on that.
Now, I want to ask you about the All-Star game. I'm going to read 2 lineups off
the
here.
What?
Yeah, NBA All-Star game. And I want to read both lineups. Now, we know Rondo's gone, but prior to Rondo leaving, what lineup did you like best? You got Wade, James, Garnett, Anthony, and Rondo in the East. In the West, you got Paul Durant.
West.
What? Paul Durant, Griffin, Kobe. Stop. 4 on 5. Because the other one's Howard. And
say it. Say it.
How did he get in the All-Star game? Are the centers?
Because it's a popularity contest, man.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And yes,
because it ain't by numbers.
The centers are depleted.
And in the West, how does Howard get in over? Golly.
Because he sells jerseys. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that.
I wouldn't buy. Come on. Okay, not
only would I not buy a Dwight Howard jersey, I wouldn't even sell it because I couldn't get anything for it.
I think the East, if they still had Rondo, would have what a team. What a team.
Chris Paul and Kobe, to me, is so enticing. And
fast.
And I get LeBron. And don't get me wrong, I love him as a player. I think he's the best player in the league. I think he can do anything. I think he gets too much credit. Not enough credit. I almost call myself a LeBron apologist, just like I did with Allen Iverson, because I think that, what they did based on what they had was great. However, Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, it's going to be tough, but
I know we had this argument the other day, and I'm going to say it again, going back to the Boston thing. Rondo is the best point guard in the league for... Wait a minute.
I didn't say anything.
Didn't say he is the best. He's the best at playing both sides of the floor. He is the best point guard in the league at playing both sides of the court. You have your great point guards out there, yes, but not all of them play defense as well as they play offense, or offense as well as they play defense, vice versa, whatever. Rondo plays both well. Plays both really well.
Tony Parker.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's as good as Rondo.
Westbrook.
Ain't been around long enough.
Who in college was the Pac-10 defense.
I'm talking about the NBA.
Pac-10 defensive player of the year, and he's more athletic than Rondo.
Are you going to compare these college kids to the NBA?
No. What I'm saying, and he played in Kentucky. What I'm saying is that Westbrook is more athletic, and he can shut down a lot of people.
But
Rondo's longer. I will give you that. Out of circumstance.
I'm not going to use his college career.
No, I'm just saying. What I'm
NBA.
saying is Westbrook isn't really known for his defense, but he plays defense well.
But not better than Rondo.
Comparable. No.
Comparable is you trying to argue with me and prove your point. Comparable is not what it means saying, yes, he can play as well.
So Rondo is leagues ahead of Westbrook.
Didn't say leagues ahead. I said right now he's the best on both sides of the court. Right now. Today. He's the best on both sides.
He has no jumper.
Okay, you're going to look for every reason.
No, every reason.
Does Rondo always need does he need the jumper? I mean, he can hit that jumper, but he's so fast going to the basket.
What
else does he do real well? He puts people in position to score. He draws attention to himself.
I'm not saying he doesn't, and he also has 2 Hall of Famers.
A great point guard doesn't just have a great jumper. He's got to have everything.
What I'm saying, though, is that absent of that jumper, they're able to jump what he does.
You know, I'm not going to waste the whole show trying to argue this fact with you because you're going to look for any reason.
Any reason? Those are good reasons. Are you saying those are bad reasons?
I didn't say they're bad, but the reasons
don't talking about matter. I'm looking for any reason.
It doesn't make a difference. He is the best on both sides of the court. He's the best on the offense and the defense. You say this and that about these other guys. Yes, I give you. You're right.
He's better than Chris Paul?
Yes. And I like Chris Paul. That's hard to say. I really like Chris. I think he plays better defense than Chris Paul.
Well, yeah, Chris Paul has technique.
Then there you go.
But his offensive production, how he gets everybody involved.
I agree.
With less,
but I'm saying on both sides.
With less talent.
But I'm. Whew. Boy, I'll tell you. Yeah, you're right. Okay. But what I'm saying is both sides. Both sides. You keep saying his offense or this guy's defense.
I'm just looking at it. I'm just looking at from an even out. I'm not even arguing with you. Yeah. I'm just looking at
point guard plays offense and defense well.
He does that, and that's my assertion. From a point guard standpoint only, yeah, he gets other people involved. He rebounds better than most guards in the league. He looks like he rebounds like Jason Kidd did about 4 years ago. But the problem is he doesn't shoot well, which means people can get up on him. That doesn't necessarily hesitate his passing because he's one of the top assist men in the league. But without that jumper, and that's the only thing I'm talking about, and he has his fakes and everything like that, I think that brings into question when you're looking at a Chris Paul, a Tony Parker, which nobody can stop from keeping him in the paint, and Chris Paul, who throws passes all day long, and then let's look at Westbrook. Westbrook can out-athletic Rondo, man to man. He can out-athletic him. And with that being said, I think that there is something to talk about. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I am saying it ain't a slam dunk. No pun intended.
Okay, well, I still win.
We'll continue that argument. We'll agree to disagree, and we'll go
Lakers
forward.
The other night beat OKC. Shocked, extremely shocked. I will say, through all the bad.
Are you? Go ahead.
No, I am not coming over to the Lakers side. They still don't.
They got to go 30-8 to get 48 wins, which is probably the bargain basement that they can get to even make the playoffs, in which they get blown out by OKC.
They look good playing together. Kobe Bryant and Dwight Howard.
Now
Nash got in. Meta World Peace got in. Here's the thing, and we talked about this the other day. The stat that was brought up, when Kobe Bryant shoots 19 or less shots, they've gone 12-2 this year.
Right.
When he shoots 19 or more, they've gone 6-22. Now, the other night, he had 14 points, 14 assists. He took 10 shots.
Right.
Now, here's the great thing about Kobe Bryant. Did he make mistakes early on this year by trying to carry an entire team on his shoulder to win? Yes. Do I fault him for that? No. If I'm his coach, absolutely not. I want the ball in the hands of my best player every night. Now, old legs, gets tired, doesn't shoot as well, ball ain't got enough, push on it, whatever. But the other night, he showed why he is great. He ran down the court. Everybody knew he was going to the hoop or taking the shot from the perimeter. When they came to him, He dunked the ball off and made everybody on that court with a yellow and purple jersey on look great, including Howard.
Even as a top-notch point guard, it's really tough to have back-to-back games where you have 14 assists.
Yes.
And nobody really does that. And when you, just like you said, he's taking on different assignments. For anybody, I know there's a lot of Kobe haters out there. What it seems like when you get a great player in the NBA, some people hate him, some people don't. But the people that tend to hate more, or it sounds like it's hate, they speak louder. A lot of people don't like Kobe Bryant. But what you can't say about Kobe Bryant is what he's doing right now. He is literally doing everything he can to win.
Oh, he's taking
on the defensive assignments. He's taking on the assist role. Now he's a facilitator. He said, okay, you know what? Everybody says I shoot too much. I need to facilitate more, get everybody involved so we can play better defense, because that's what happens. For people that haven't played basketball, and it's an uncanny, it really is an uncanny relationship to if you get to shoot and you put yourself in a position where other people can pass you the ball so you can score, how much you're going to play more defense on the back end. Well, and I think that's what's happening, and we talked about it, but that's what's happening with everybody else.
Well, here's what you need to understand, and I blame this on the organization. Last week I spent so much time blaming it on Howard, and I still do. I think he's a slacker. I don't think he puts effort into it.
And we'll disagree, but you shouldn't.
But here's the thing.
And they need to trade him.
Here's the thing. I blame the organization so much. This guy has sold his heart to you. He's got a broken down, beat up body because he gave you all he had. When he asked, with 2 years, I got to win one more championship. You go get the most geriatric team you could put together, which I said from the beginning was a mistake. I would have a Nash in a minute. But to play him the minutes they're playing him, I don't think so.
Well,
but the point I'm making is this guy knew when the season started. Here's what I love about Kobe Bryant. Guys, follow me in the war. I'll carry the load. Just have my back. Here's what makes him special. It wasn't working. He was putting up mad numbers, but it wasn't working, points-wise. He had to step back out of himself for a moment, evaluate what's going on with the team, even after their little team meeting, and say, you know what, in order for me to make this team better, that's exactly what I have to do. Make the team better.
Let me pick up some other assignments.
And that's what he did the other night. Could they beat OKC tonight if they had to play him? No, absolutely not.
Not back-to-back.
No. Will they beat him again this year? Probably not.
They won back-to-back games 9 times this year. The problem is they've lost back-to-back games 15 times this year.
But Kobe Bryant, point I'm making is what he did the other night, and he's done all year, is what makes him not only a great player, but a very special player. What hurt Kobe Bryant the most this year? The hiring of Mike D'Antoni. A guy that has no creative side to him at all.
You know what?
He doesn't know how to use these players he's got.
We're going to try to keep this down to not being 4 hours, but I can feel, too, with why Mike D'Antoni was the absolute wrong coach for the Lakers. And it's because of the owner. Mm-hmm. When Mr. Buss got sick, the son took over, and it's been the toilet ever since. How... You look at this team and you say to yourself, if you had a team ready built for any coach in the league, thinking about doing it, it'd be Phil Jackson. This is a Phil Jackson team.
Yep.
But because he wants to get away from Phil Jackson, he's fired multiple people that have been there for more than 10 years because of Phil Jackson, because they believed in what he was saying. This is the abomination. And you know what? From that standpoint, I really want the Lakers to do well. I'm a Laker fan. I get it. But at the same time, in order for stuff to change, and this is why I said the other week, it is a freaking shame that everyone just doesn't get it and says, hey, you know what? Kobe wants exactly one thing. First, you already screwed up his second three-peat.
Yep.
Okay? You already did that.
Yep.
All I want now is one ring and an honest shot at it.
Yep. And did they give him an honest shot? I'm not even going to say because of the players. Let me not use them. By the hiring of Mike D'Antoni, was that an honest shot for Kobe? Was that the best they could get?
Here's a better question. Have they, in the upper office, have they now turned into the Clippers?
Has the upper office, the
upper management,
has he had it with Kobe Bryant too? You said this the other day. Got rid of everything that revolved around Phil Jackson.
Yeah,
Kobe
they're done.
Revolved around Phil Jackson.
Look, when you get rid of
the only reason he didn't get rid of Phil Jackson, his father had kicked him out of the building.
When you get rid of Shaq, the most dominant player, human force that's ever seen the NBA league. Don't get me wrong, Kareem.
Well, there was more to Shaq even than just the.
I'm just saying, but they chose Kobe over Shaq, which means that they are able to make a choice.
Well, that was senior bus.
Right. But even still, they made a conscious decision to choose one player over another.
Yep.
And maybe that's what they're doing now.
Wow.
Look, the luxury tax, the actual salary cap is $58.5 million, I believe. It might be 59. Kobe Bryant right now is making $27+ million a year. It's not 28. Next year it's going to be 30. That's over half the salary cap.
Yep.
Next year.
Well, the thing is I really got to thinking about this today. When you made mention of that the other day about the Phil Jackson, Greg, the young bus getting rid of everything that was in his era, and Kobe was still around, and I'm thinking with 2 years left, he asked for a favor. One more title. Put me with the best squad, best coach. Give me everything to win it. I've given you everything. Did Young Buss sit back and go, I can't get rid of you. I'm not allowed to, but I will not help you. Even though he was saying to him, yeah, absolutely, Kobe, I'll do it.
I'll tell you what.
Am I wrong? Maybe, but that sure is a thought.
I'll tell you what.
Because did he put him in the best situation?
I forget exactly what we're talking about, but a couple weeks ago, you were talking about how a coach or a GM wanted to make their mark on a team, and I disagreed with you pretty strong. And in this case, if you were to make that same argument, you would be 100% right, and I'd back you 1,000% because what they're doing right now is not in the best interest. And I'm not saying I'm not saying
everybody hear that. We just agreed. There's actually a first on this show.
All I'm saying is, from that standpoint, they need to treat Kobe better. I know there's a lot of Kobe haters out there, and we're not going to dwell on this too much more, but just get the guy some talent that he can work with.
Absolutely. One last thing in the NBA, Greg, I want to run by. I want the listeners to know this in case they don't already. It looks like the Sacramento Kings could become the Seattle Supersonics. The Maloffs are looking at selling 65% of the team to a Seattle-based group led by Chris Hansen.
Yep.
Now, for all of you that don't know, this actually is a great move for Sacramento, and here's why. Okay? It's an upgrade for the team and the players. The league is moving to a larger TV market, Greg. And something to keep in mind, the national TV deal expires in 2016.
Right.
Now, with that in mind, there'll be a larger local TV market where they're going. They'll get a better deal as well, which will drive up the pot split. It'll give more money to the players. And not only that, the biggest reason behind all of that, the extra money, the bigger TV deal, the whole 9 yards, the number one reason behind that is they're going to go from Sacramento to Seattle. Sacramento, they are the fourth NBA team in California. They're the number 4 team. In Washington, in Seattle, in Washington State, they are the only NBA team.
Right. And
they get all the attention. They don't share no money, no attention, no nothing.
And plus they have the support of the Canadian provinces that are right near there.
And they got a better following in Sacramento. In Seattle. Seattle wants their team back so bad. They're
jealous. They're pissed about OKC right now.
They want their team back. So if they move next year or the year after, whatever, it'll be around 2016 when they really, when the team and the players really benefit from this. When the TV market, when the TV deal expires and they get their new one, it's going to be a big market for them. It's going to be a huge market for them in Seattle.
The only thing I would comment about that story, I mean, you pretty much just said it all, is that they're still going to need to get better talent that's a better face. When they had, I mean,
absolutely, but maybe they can do it there with more money.
I don't think money's the problem. I don't think they're hurting for. I mean, they supported White Chocolate and Chris Webber and Vlade Divac for a long time. You know, when Chris Webber was sent over there from Washington to die. Yeah. You know, they were able to support that. The team came out. They had a lot of people coming into the town and watching the games. All I'm saying is, you know, that's been lost. Yeah. And I think the Maloofs, as you stated earlier, they're not really in a position where I think they care anymore. There's been a little bit of dissension within the ranks over there. There's two brothers that own it, and then there's another sister or mother or whatever, and it kind of gets a little bit murky when they're trying to really like make deals, and that's why you don't see the big talent there. Yep. That goes. I mean,
too much argument in the front office, not enough time spent on looking for talent.
They got a lot of people there that are doing stuff that's good, but you know what? End of the day, they're not focused on basketball. I mean, when Seattle lost and they moved to Oklahoma City, which wasn't even supposed to be able to support a team, okay? They weren't supposed to support a team. They were thirsty, and they're still thirsty now. And they want that drink of water. And they know that if they get that team back in, you're not going to have players that don't play hard. You're not going to have people that don't understand what it means to be in this type of environment. And that's what they're trying to cultivate.
Right. So, I mean, you know, not to get, we're going to get off the NBA real quick. Before we do, real quick, we had the MVP argument a minute ago. Just to let you know, folks, Carmelo dropped 42 the other night on the Hawks, and the Knicks win. Another night to show he is there for the MVP this year. He is there for the MVP. And you know what? He's making an awful statement for it. Moving on to the NFL real quick. We got a few things to talk about there. Biggest thing we got to talk about tonight in the NFL is Revis, Greg. The Jets talking about getting rid of him. He is a stellar corner. He is a shutdown corner. He's been injured the last 2 years. He's had some problems. It's funny, ever since he got rid of ever since he got his big contract he wanted with the Jets, he's been injured, pretty much. I don't think that changes the fact that he's a great corner.
Look, I know he's a great corner, and I'm sure that he's going to do great wherever he goes. But you know what? This guy wants to be paid top 5 in the league, and it's never going to stop. He's always, if you look at what he did with the Jets, he's always going. And don't get me wrong, the boy can stay with anybody. But it's going to be a consistent pain in the butt, and at some point, you're not going to be able to resign him. On top of the fact that he's coming off an ACL, and everybody looks at Adrian Peterson as like the standard. He's not the standard.
No.
He's the exception. And when you look at ACL injuries, and you see what his knees have to do against these wide receivers, double moves, inside moves, outside moves, and he's got to turn his head, turn his body, turn his hips.
Yep.
I'm not saying he can't get it done. I'm not saying he can't rise at the same level. All I'm saying is for the Jets, who are at least $20 million over the salary cap,
they got to move to dump him now, not knowing how he's going to be, and open up your salary cap.
They got to pay Sanchez too much. Even if they cut him, it's still $8 million on the hit. Even if they do some financial stuff where they pay him an exit or a salary bonus, whatever, just to have $3 million on the books for the salary cap. Tebow's gone. They're going to try to bring someone else in. What you can't do is you can't put 20, 30, almost $40 million into a quarterback and then run the rest of your team.
Right.
Sanchez has one more year. What I think they're going to try to do and what they should do, get rid of Revis. And I know it's stupid. Cromartie's been playing up, though. Cromartie, he's not your shutdown corner, but Cromartie can actually play. He stepped his game up, and he was a serviceable, high-end, not elite, cornerback for the Jets. Okay? You get rid of Revis, you get maybe a first, second-round pick, you free up some cash, maybe you get another player in return, and then you start rebuilding. Because guess what? Rex ain't going to be there too much longer.
Do you think the Jets should jump on the first person that offers to pick his contract up? Just in case they don't get anybody else?
It depends what, I mean.
Well, here's the thing. We talked the other day about.
It depends what you get for him because, from the Jets.
Here's what I'm going to bring up to you. We talked about, the Jets, or nobody would trade him back into the AFC East. We did say that. Why would you do that? You don't want to play against him. One, you don't know how good he's going to be or if he's going to hold up. He could be in game 2 and destroy that ACL again, twisting his hips and cutting and turning out there and be done for the season. But you don't have his contract to pick up no more if they pick up all his contract. Okay? We talked about your Patriots, 29th in the league in pass defense.
Right, but there's rumors right now about them maybe trying to get Ed Reed if Baltimore doesn't want to pay him that money.
Dolphins are desperate for a
And the Patriots don't pay nobody.
No. Belichick don't. Okay, let's talk about the Dolphins, who are on the rise. Are they not? They are on the rise.
And they're at least $30 million under the salary cap.
But there you go, $40 million under the cap, which is golden to Revis if he sees that.
Right,
plus, here's the other thing they got.
You're gonna pay him. $17 million.
Wait. Where's the other thing that Miami Dolphins have? They have 10 draft picks in the first 3 rounds this year. And the Jets need draft picks, big time. That might look pleasing to them. Buffalo. They acquired.
We don't have another hour, but
they acquired the Jets' former defensive coordinator, which Revis is familiar with his system. Not only that, and that's Mike Bettini or whatever his name is.
But Revis covers.
He would love to get his hands on him, but the problem they have, Williams. Was it Mike Williams? Mario Williams. They gave $100 million to last year. You can't have another guy like that on the team.
The Bills spent too much money on that defense, and the defense is on the lower tier in the league as to what they did. They're not. I don't see them being in a spot where they're going to give up draft picks and Williams for. In division. I hear what you're saying, but I don't know that that's
before we get to our final topic of the night, which is going to be college basketball, men's NCAA basketball. We see Rob Ryan, the Rams. They wanted him, now they don't want him. He's off the hook there. He'll be looking for a job somewhere else. I still think Rob Ryan is a good fit somewhere. He's a good defensive coordinator for a team that doesn't have one as good as him, and they do. And them are out. There's teams out there like that.
Given the lineage that...
and what are the Rams looking for? They don't have a defensive coordinator. They didn't have one last year.
Given the lineage that Fisher has with the Ryan family being basically toted around everywhere he went from Buddy Ryan, it wasn't a mistake that Rob Ryan was on the list. What is surprising is that they're not going to pick him up. Yeah. To me, that's real surprising because I'm not going to cite Old Boy Network or whatever, but, Jeff Fisher went like 3 places with Buddy Ryan. Mm-hmm. This is his son.
Yep.
And he interviewed him and said, now we're not a fit, and they were both coached by the same dude. That something went wrong there. I don't know what it is, and I'm not saying I see smoke and calling fire, but I'll tell you what, something don't smell right over there.
Here's the thing before we talk about this next guy, I want to know how owners think, or head coaches, or whoever's thinking about this. Greg Williams, the former defensive coordinator for the Saints, former defensive coordinator for the Rams, who didn't even coach last year because he was suspended.
Indefinitely.
Now Tennessee's interested in him. He's still suspended. Didn't you learn from St. Louis's move last year?
Time out. Not even that. Let's look at the whole bounty game. And I really don't want to spend a lot of time on this. But let's just say it was a debacle for the NFL. It was a PR hit. It was a nightmare. They couldn't control it. They weren't right. They didn't do due diligence. Why is this guy still suspended indefinitely?
Yep.
Why is he not? When it got overturned, where all the players could go back, and the only people that were really there were from the coaching staff that got penalized was the interim coach for 6 games, and now Sean Payton. He just got reinstated. Why is Greg Williams? Yeah, I get it. Maybe they pinned it on him, whatever. Why is he? If I'm Roger Goodell, I want to get rid of Bounty Gate as soon as I can. I don't want any more questions. I don't want to figure out anything about it. I want it off my books so I can do something else. I think based on the lawsuit that's going on between 3,000 and 4,000 players, focused on safety, you made your point. You went overboard, and I don't really think it was a bad hit from a Goodell standpoint. NFL standpoint, yes. So now that it's over, you've screwed up. It's obvious. Reinstate Greg Williams. Get this off your books so no one keeps talking about it. Because right now, I mean, the Rams need a defensive coordinator.
Yep.
Eagles need a defensive coordinator.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of jobs out there, and with Greg Williams, having a proven offense, especially, I mean, look at it. You look at the Saints, he left, what happened? They have the absolute worst defensive effort in the league ever. 7,049 yards. The worst output ever.
Right.
Let Greg Williams go.
Don't worry about it.
Put him in a spot where he can, get another job, be done with it, and walk away.
I wonder if Tennessee looks at Rob Ryan now that he's available, knowing they still don't know what's going on with Greg Williams, so they can get their season started. Get a guy in place. You got the draft coming up. You need to start getting ready for that. And when that's over, you got to start your season. You don't want to be playing around looking for a defensive coordinator or wondering what a Greg Williams is going to be if you can use him.
I think a natural fit might actually be Philly. You got Chip Kelly coming in there.
For who, Rob Ryan?
No, for Chip Kelly and Philly.
Oh, yeah. But
you have Rob Ryan. Rob Ryan going there.
Yeah.
I think you're able to take some pressure off Chip Kelly. You're able to have the cameras for whatever reason.
We know the Ryan name in Philly.
Right. And everybody wants to see Rob Ryan. What's he doing? It's crazy hair, all that stuff. I think that would be a great fit.
Hey, folks, we're going to talk about our last topic a little bit tonight, and that's men's college basketball. And we're at the end of January. We're getting ready to go into February. 1 month left. We're into the tournament. I'm so fired up about the tournament. And let me tell you why, Greg. Here's what I love. Let's go back to last week. Right now, as we sit here today, Michigan's ranked number 1 in the polls. Why is Michigan ranked number 1? They were 2 last week. Here's what makes college basketball so exciting. And being number 1, you just got to target a bullseye painted on your back. Last week, number 1 Duke loses the 25th ranked Miami. Not supposed to happen, right?
Nope.
Turn around. Last week, unranked Georgetown beats 3rd ranked Louisville. Unranked Villanova beats, tied for 3rd place ranked, Syracuse. Okay? Louisville got 2 losses. Syracuse got 2 losses. Duke got two losses. I mean, do the losses matter right now in conference play? No, not necessarily. You don't want them, but they don't matter. Tournament play, get into the tournament, get ranked. That's all that matters. But I'm telling you right now.
When you're the 50th ranked team, I don't mean to cut you off, but when you're the 50th ranked team, the out-of-conference stuff matters. And these teams that you're talking about, the Big Ten, the Big East, even the ACC with Miami going 6-0 in conference and putting together a pretty good season. The out-of-conference for all these others, these mid-majors, Pac-10, Big 12, all them cats, that's going to be important for them. Out-of-conference stuff. So, the question you asked, these top teams, do they have anything to worry about? Not right now. They can actually, they can actually play ball. Yeah. They can actually relax and play ball, and they know they're going to get in the tournament because a lot of these teams, once they get in, they're good. But the teams that are going to have problems are those lower, the lower teams of the SEC, the Northwesterns, the lower teams of the soon-to-be defunct Big East. You have North Carolina State beating North Carolina. That don't happen a lot.
Mm-hmm. North Carolina State's played well this year against everybody.
And those are the teams that are not
ranked 19th. They got 4 losses. You brought it up a minute ago, and I was waiting to get into this. You said the Big East, the ACC, the Big Ten, all playing good basketball this year.
Ball.
Always the Big East, always the ACC play well. Here's the thing. I was going to wait to ask you, out of the top 5 ranked teams right now, Who do you think absolutely does not make it to the Final Four and why? My opinion on that is, because we're talking about the top 5 teams in the Final Four in the tournament.
All right, so we're talking about Michigan, we're talking about Kansas, we're talking about Indiana, we're talking about Florida, we're talking about Duke, and we can even slide a Syracuse in at number 6.
Absolutely have to. And my thing is, I'm going to use the SEC, who's lacking a little this year, with Kentucky not playing well. Ole Miss looks good. Missouri, well, they were supposed to play better, and they didn't.
They got blown out by Florida.
Now,
but you know what? They are still a top team in the SEC. And I think Billy Donovan, when they played Missouri, and they kept their starters until about 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, he was trying to make a point that we're here in Florida. You know what? We're going to stomp on everybody.
Here's why I'm using Florida as my team that does not make the Final Four. Why? We talked about today, you and I, before the show, week in and week out, who these teams are playing. And, let's talk about the ACC and the Big East, for instance, or even the Big Ten, for that matter. Every night of the week they step on the court, Greg, they play a stellar team. They play an outstanding team. I mean, the competition is so stiff. Florida and the SEC, and it's not their fault. They got a great team, and they're playing lights-out basketball. But against teams that are not as good a caliber teams. Now,
so you're almost saying that it's in reverse right now, because everybody talks about, SEC and their football schedule.
Right.
And, the fact is, it's based on attrition because every team is so good. And with Florida in particular, Georgia and I would imagine Alabama the same. Everybody's coming at them with everything they got. It's not like that right now in SEC basketball.
My point was in the basketball, Florida out of conference, except for 2 games, and in conference has been beating everybody. In conference, they've been pounding everybody.
Right.
Literally pounding everybody. 20 and 30-point games steady. But when they stepped out of conference, Greg, and played Arizona, they got beat. When they stepped out of conference and they played, now that was a tough loss to Arizona. That was a basketball game.
And it was a number 8 Arizona.
And when they stepped out of conference and played Kansas State, they got beat. 6-point loss. Both them games could have went either way.
Right,
but the point I'm making is they played real basketball teams and got beat. So when the tournament starts, can the Gators go all the way? They're going to have to play really good. The problem I think they're going to run into,
depending on their seeding. I think that if they win out, and they have some tough games coming up, but if they win out, they should be able to be in a spot where they get a 2 or 3 seed. I think if the selection committee, which I absolutely 100% do not trust because they're part of the NCAA and they continually make horrific mistakes, especially with the mid-major teams that put enough together to get into the tournament, I don't trust them. I think that, at worst, if they lose 3 more games, Florida will have a 4th seed. If they win out from here right now, which they are in position to do, never mind the SEC championship, they could be a top 1, top 2 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe they win the SEC conference. Their last biggest challenge in the SEC is going to come on February 2nd when they play Ole Miss here.
Yeah.
They're going to kill South Carolina. And they still on the 12th got to play Kentucky. Matter of fact, they got to play Kentucky twice. So they got a little bit going on. They got to play Missouri again. We'll see if Missouri bounces back. Tennessee. Alabama has the ability to play well. I don't think they do.
They played
can.
The other day they played Tennessee real tough. And I'll tell you what, Alabama may not have the talent that a Florida has, especially from the defensive end, but I'll tell you this, they compete.
We talked about the ACC and we talked about the Big East. Tim Hardaway Jr. and that Michigan squad, I said it earlier to you, their offense is...
And Glenn Robinson III.
Oh, my God.
Big dog.
They throw from anywhere on the court, and that ball, they nail it. They get in the paint. They're dangerous, but they can shoot from anywhere on that court, and they're vicious. Their offense is just stellar. So right now they're sitting at number 1 and the polls, and the AP poll, which I said is a terrible place to sit, I think, in college basketball. Everybody's gunning for you. These unranked teams go, you know what? We might not make the tournament. We're probably not even going to have a 500 record. But if we beat number 1, which we've seen happen how many times, I mean, that's their whole season. So, mid-majors, you got Gonzaga and Butler again there this year. How much longer are we going to call them a mid-major? Because of the conference they play in.
Because they're a mid-major.
Right, but what I'm saying is, before,
that goes to NCAA and the BCS.
Yes.
And the S stands for... They put... and this is all on the network of, well, you know what? Your brand, your cachet, your... what you've done in the past, we're not really going to count it. But do they really look at the recruiting class, what you've done in the past, and then form the rankings? That's exactly what they do. What they don't do, I'm the same way with college football. Don't even put the rankings out for the first 3-4 weeks.
Yes.
Let them play, and then from there, maybe a Creighton is actually a top 10. But if you go based on what Creighton's name is, guess what? They're 21 right now.
Yep.
But they're 18-3. Don't get me wrong. The competition that they played, I don't know. I don't know the RPI. I don't know the rankings and all that other stuff. All I'm saying is y'all need to wait, especially when you come down to coaches voting. Nobody in their right mind believes that every single Division 1A coach votes on who's number 1, watches tape, and has an intelligent opinion about another team outside of theirs based on their obsession with winning and making sure that they make the AD happy.
Absolutely. Folks, like we said, that we got a month left. We are a month away, a little over a month, but March Madness is coming. And just for that matter, so you can enjoy March Madness a little more, watch the build-up. Watch the conference championships. Things are going to happen. Teams that win the conference championships don't necessarily always go on and win the tournament. You see big upsets in conference championship. It's going to be great this year. The way things are setting up right now, it's going to be incredible watching. It always is anyways. Hey, Greg, we threw a mock show together. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. I sure enjoyed sitting here. I've been begging for another day every week. I'll take tomorrow. I ain't going to be able to stand it tomorrow. I got to talk to the people. There's a lot of stuff to say, Every time we turn around, there's something big happening.
There's still a lot of stuff going on. And just on a side note, I watched the Australian Open, and Azarenka beat Lee Na. I know a lot of people don't really care about that. And Djokovic beat Murray. But I'll tell you what, from an athletic play standpoint, that's something that everybody needs to take a look at every now and then. And don't get me wrong. From an NBA standpoint, from an NFL standpoint, I get irritated about people that only watch the Super Bowl, only watch the NBA Finals, only watch the NBA playoffs. I'm like that with the NHL. I watch a couple Boston Bruins games, but then I really get into the playoffs because I think they play hard and everything like that. And from an NFL, NBA standpoint, I typically get a little irritated because I think there's good play that other people can see. I did that with the Australian Open, and I'm telling you, if you get a chance, these are athletes. And I'll tell you what, you can get wrapped up in it. So don't give that stuff, NASCAR or golf, any slight. Make sure you watch a little bit of everything.
So I want to ask you want to give me your prediction and the people in the world your prediction of who's going to win the Super Bowl, or you want to leave them hanging until Thursday?
I'll leave
them hanging until Thursday, huh?
I'll leave them hanging until Thursday, but you know what? I'll tell you what, and this is what I thought. I thought, who do I want to win? Who do I think will win? And who do I think needs to win more?
Good.
I think the Ravens need to win more. I think the Ravens will win. And I want the Ravens to actually win.
I think that sets it all, folks, right there. Other than the spread we're going to talk about and how that's going to go, what direction, and Greg just summed it up. And you know what? We're going to talk about it more. I'm still torn a little. To go back to what Greg said,
I just don't think...
I want the Ravens to win for Ray Lewis and Ed Reed.
I don't think Ray Lewis is going to let Kaepernick beat him.
I don't like San Francisco Harbaugh. I've never cared for him. When he played, when he was in college, his coaching, when he coached at Stanford. I just don't care for the guy.
And we're busting right now because we have a lot of Super Bowl information.
Oh,
but
man.
we need
so let's
to not
knock
talk.
that off and get out of here. And listen, folks, we're out of here tonight. We're going to lock this show up. We're going to have more of these mock shows coming at you just to throw some information and some news at you so we don't tie up Thursday so much. If I can get us in here every night, I'm going to do it. And I got pulled somewhere, so we're going to see what we can do.
That's what I heard.
Hey, folks, listen. This is Larry B. I'm always here sitting here with Greg. And this is the Thursday War Room, and we're signing off. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.
Thanks.